Welcome everyone to our class today at the airport. That's where we're going. So imagine you're going on a fabulous vacation. What is your dream vacation? Where would you want to go if you were at the airport? Share that in the comments and let's get started because we have a lot to review today. So notice my slide was I'm at the airport, at the airport. Now, why did I say at the airport and not in the airport? Well, let's start with this because I get asked this question a lot. Yes, they are both grammatically correct. I'm at the airport, perfect. I'm in the airport, perfect. There's a slight difference, and I showed that visually on the slide. So notice here, if you say I'm at the airport, you could be in the parking lot. You could be outside making a phone call. You could be driving up. So you could be outside or you could be inside. If you say I'm in the airport, then you must be inside. You cannot be in the parking lot, for example, because that's the exterior. So that's the only difference. Native speakers, we generally use I'm at the airport even when we are inside the airport because it's just a more general term. So now you know when to say I'm at the airport, I'm in the airport. Let's keep going. Now, I'm going to test your knowledge. You need to complete the sentence. The two women, I know this might be confusing because there are 4 women in the image. So not the women working at the airport, the ones wearing the matching outfits. They are the agents, not the agents, the passengers, the ones traveling. The 2 women, what are they doing? Can you complete the action? And while you think of it, let me say hello to all my wonderful students here. Hello, Horatio, Hidaki, Ariel. Thank you so much for your generosity. I'm so glad to have you here. Hello, everyone. And I saw my student Deepa. Hello, good morning. Hello, Manuel. Okay, so the 2 women are interesting. Are checking in their suitcases. What do you think about that? Are checking in. Now, Mirik, make sure you put this in a full sentence because if I said the 2 women checking in, that's grammatically incorrect, right? So you have to make sure you're forming a complete sentence. So we have checking in. They are passing through check-in. Okay. They deposit their luggage. That sounds a little formal, a little literal. It's not what we would use in everyday English. Weighing their luggage. So the spelling is not correct, but the meaning is there. The 2 women are weighing the luggage on the scale. You're right. The scale is what tells you the weight of your luggage. Okay, so this is what I wrote, everyone. The 2 women are checking in. Okay, so the 2 passengers are checking in. One agent, the agent is the woman working at the airport. One agent is checking the women in. So the agent is doing the action. The agent is checking someone in. So if you are an employee at a hotel, at an airport, maybe even at a certain conference or lecture, you have to check the attendees in. So to register them. Now, one agent, the other one, the one who is touching the suitcase, is checking their bags. Oh, so notice the difference. Check in, which means register, is a phrasal verb, to check in. Now, I don't know about you. I don't go to the agent. I check in online. Does that describe you? So when I get to the airport, I'm already checked in. I don't do it with an agent because it's way faster to do it online. But if you have a bag, a suitcase, and you're checking the suitcase, then you have to go to the agent. I'm checking the suitcase. But keep in mind, everyone, I'm not saying check in the luggage. You don't check in your bag. You check your bag. You check your bag. So phrasal verb check in is register. Check your bag is to leave your bag with the flight attendants, with the agents. Okay. Okay. So hopefully that is clear. Let's keep going. And I have more quizzes for you. So, what about you? Do you check in with the agents or do you check in online when you fly? Now, the agents may ask the passengers, how many bags are you checking today? Sorry, this is a typo. It should say you, not your. How many bags are you checking today? Remember, you don't check in bags, you check bags. Bags is a general term. You could say suitcases as well. Bags just refers to everything as well. Now, they might also say, which happened to me the last time I flew, this is what happened. This bag is overweight. Overweight. What does that mean, everyone? This bag is overweight. You'll need to take something out. So I was that person who had to open my suitcase in front of everyone and rearrange things. And then I had to find some heavy objects and I had to put them in the other suitcase and I had to put some things in my purse as well. So I was that person. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you. So if it is overweight, it means it weighs too much. It weighs too much. So if the maximum weight is 50 pounds, well, then it's 52, 55, anything over 50. Okay. This is not what they would say though. Excessive weight is a direct translation. Overweight is the term. Overweight. Okay. Your baggage is overweight. You will need to pay off the excess before checking in. Okay. You wouldn't say pay off the excess. I don't know what that means, but you could say your bag is overweight. All right. Yes. Overweight. The weight is beyond more than the limit, the maximum. Let's keep going. Are you ready for this quiz? Here's your, what is this? Here's your, who knows? Oh, close, Manuel. Yeah, you could say ticket. You can say ticket for sure. And yes, Natalia got it. Woohoo, Natalia, you got it. Alexander got it. Awesome job. Not fly ticket. So if you called it a ticket, it would be flight ticket. Now, we do say ticket, but the absolute, if you could only choose one thing, if you could only choose one, I would 100% say boarding pass. 100% boarding pass, but not board ticket, boarding pass. Boarding pass. Here's your boarding pass. Because what does it allow you to do? It allows you to board the plane. Okay? Very good eye. Here's your boarding pass to Turkey because this person is traveling from JFK, the name of the airport, New York, Manhattan, from Manhattan to Istanbul. All right, very good eye. Let's keep going, everyone. What do we have next? Well, your boarding pass. So here are some questions you may ask. Now, I would ask these questions before I'm given my boarding pass, because once you receive your boarding pass, then it's more work for the gate agent if they have to make any changes. Okay, but you can ask them, am I sitting in a window or aisle? Which is your preferred seat? Am I sitting in a window or aisle? Is there an aisle seat available? Now, that's if you want the aisle. Okay. Now, if you prefer the window, then you would say, is there a window seat available? So notice the verb is sit, but the noun is seat. So I'm sitting on a seat. Okay. Now you might ask, this flight leaves out of Terminal 2. So that's just the area of the airport. Some airports are massive. So they divide the airports into different terminals. And generally, they have either names, numbers, or letters for the terminal. In this case, they have numbers. So you might ask the gate agent, how long will it take to get to Terminal 2? Because some airports, it can take you 20 minutes just to get to the terminal. So you better go quickly. Okay, so these are some questions you may ask the gate agent. Is there a window? Is there a window seat available? Is there a window seat available? You got it. Way to go. I prefer a window seat. Very nice. Very nice. This person, Hidaki. Aisle, please. Could I have an aisle seat? You can absolutely call it a ticket. You can. Okay. So that's correct. I was just saying if there was only one name to call it a boarding pass. A boarding pass. That's what the gate agent will say. The gate agent will not say, here's your ticket. They'll say, here's your boarding pass. You'd be like, oh no, I lost my boarding pass. The person at customs will ask you, can I see your boarding pass? So that is the terminology that they will use in the airport. They will understand you if you call it a ticket, but that's not what the employees of an airport will say. Okay, let's keep going. What else do we have? Well, we're going with some support. So please support this channel. Put yes, yes, yes in the comments. It truly supports the channel. And also like this lesson, subscribe so you're notified every time I go live, every time I post a new lesson. Make sure you subscribe as well. It's an easy way for you to support the channel. And I have a special present for you. You can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can get this from my website. Just go to the link you see on the screen, enter your name and email, and this will be emailed to you. And also, if you want to ask me questions, if you want to get my personalized support, you can do that in the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program to help you understand real English and sound fluent in only 90 days. So you can go to the link in the description. And thank you so much, Ariel, for your support. Now let's keep going and get back to some airport vocabulary. So you have your boarding pass. You've checked in. You've checked your bags. You have your boarding pass. Now you need to, do you know? Just guess. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. It means guess anything. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Guess. Now you need to, what are these people doing in line? What do you think? Yeah, for sure. Now you need to move to the gate. Yes, for sure. That works. Yeah. Now you need to go through the TSA security. Yeah. Security. Yeah. So you have to go to the gate. Before you go to the gate, You have to do this. You have to go through security. And excellent job, Ariel, because you got the verb correct. So we use a phrasal verb here, which is go through. Now you need to go through security. Now you can absolutely call it TSA security or whatever other official name that may be used. But yes, you need to go through security, which means you successfully complete security. You enter and you exit and everything is approved. That is go through security. Yeah, very nicely done, everyone. Go through security. Absolutely. Okay. And yes, for sure, you may need to go through customs as well. Customs and security, they're technically two different things, but let's just imagine you're flying domestically where you don't have to go through customs. Okay, so, but absolutely, you could say you need to go through customs as well. Okay. So the poor security agents, they always look frustrated and stressed out and tired. I always feel bad for them because they don't have an easy job and people are quite rude to them. So, these are generally questions that they ask everyone as people are standing in line. They're waiting to go through security. These are some of the questions that I am frequently asked. Of course, there could be other questions, but this is what I generally hear. Do you have any liquids? Do you have a laptop or tablet in your bag? Do you have anything in your pockets? Okay. So often the agents, they ask it in question form, but they absolutely could make imperative statements. So what is an imperative? The imperative verb. The imperative form is for instructions. So instead of asking, do you have any liquids? They might give you an instruction and say, remove liquids from your bag, remove your laptop from your bag, remove your items from your pockets. So they may make imperative statements. They also may use the modal verb must. Must as a modal verb is used in official context when it is a legal requirement. You must remove liquids from your suitcase, from your bags. You must remove your laptop from your bag. You must remove the items in your pockets. Okay, so question form, imperative form, or modal verb form with must. You must remove. Because remember, with a modal verb, you use subject, modal, base verb. But with the imperative, you use the base verb form. Remove liquids from your bags. Okay, so those are some general general things that the security agents will say to you in order for you to go through security. So maybe if you were asking a question, you would say, must I or must we? Because if you say must you, it's like you're directing that to the agent. Now, the agent doesn't have a laptop in her bag and the agent doesn't remove it. So it would be must I remove? Or must we, meaning all the passengers. Okay. So if you wanted to ask them, you could say that. Yeah, exactly. You must remove liquids. All right. Let's keep going. Now, let's imagine these people, they went through security. So they have completed security. So maybe these are some statements they would say. Oh, wow. It only took 15 minutes to clear security. So clear security, native speakers often use this to mean successfully complete. If you clear security, it means you go through security without any issues. But you could equally use the phrasal verb to go through. Oh, wow, it only took 15 minutes to go through security. That would be very fast, depending on the airport. Or maybe you text your husband, wife, friend, colleague, and you want to know where are they. So you ask them, have you cleared security yet? Because you're meeting them maybe at the gate or at the lounge, for example. So have you cleared? Have you gone through security yet? So remember, your verb is to go through security. So you have to conjugate your verb go. The preposition through does not change, of course. So in the past simple, I went through security. I need to go through security. And then in this form, have you, that's the present perfect. Have you gone? So that's the third form, of course. Have you gone through security yet? Have you successfully completed security? Okay. Okay, so that's some useful vocabulary that you need to know. What else? What else? Manuel, it takes me nearly 30 minutes. Yeah, for sure. Depending on the airport, it can take a lot longer. Now, this board, you can call it the flight information board, the display board. So what you see in the picture, this is where you check your flight information. Now, in this case, the verb check means verify or confirm. Because remember, I also said you need to check your bag. In that case, you need to, as a student said, in a more literal sense, you need to deposit your bag. You need to leave your bag with the gate agent so they can put your bag under where the passengers sit, the bottom of the plane. So that is a completely different usage of the verb check. So you have to learn vocabulary based on the context. And then, of course, we had you need to check in, which means to register, but that's a phrasal verb. So here, let's check our flight. It means you want to confirm, verify, or review. Just like as a teacher, I need to check your practice exercises to make sure they're correct. I need to verify, review, confirm your practice exercises. That's what I do for my students in the Finally Fluent Academy. So you're looking on the board to see, is it on time? So it being the flight. Is the flight on time? Is it on time? Which means if it's leaving at 3:15, it is still scheduled to leave at 3:15. It's on time. Is it delayed? So your ticket says 3:15, but the board says 3:45. It's delayed. Is it canceled? Go home. There's no flight today. Go home. It might be because of a mechanical issue. It might be because of weather. It might be because of something else. So is it canceled? That's the worst thing that could happen. Is it canceled? Okay, so you want the first one. Woohoo! Our flight is on time. So notice all of these use the verb to be. Okay, all of these use the verb to be. Yeah, exactly. It may be because of a strike. So a strike is when the pilots, the flight attendants, the kitchen crew say, "We're not working. We're not working today because of labor issues." So absolutely. Oh, fantastic. My flight is on time. That's exactly what you want. And you want to say this, I've cleared security. You don't need to say my security. It's just I've cleared security because it doesn't belong to you per se. So I've cleared security without any issues. You definitely want to say that. All right. Delayed means it's leaving later than the scheduled time. So if the scheduled time is 3:15 and your flight leaves at 3:20, 3:30, 4:30, 6 o'clock, it's delayed. It's later than the scheduled time. Exactly. Woohoo, my flight's on time. Okay. Let's keep going. So I've already used this in my speech. I've seen the word in the chat as well. But what's our, or I could say, what's my, our meaning I'm traveling with someone. So I'm asking that person, what's our? So what are these called? B11, B9, B10, these areas that have chairs. What are these areas called? I've already said it, and I know students have already used it in the class, in the chat as well. Absolutely, Ariel. Yes. Woohoo. I'm so glad everyone knows this one. Yeah. Gate. Gate. Way to go, everyone. That's awesome. Yes. Absolutely. What's our gate? What's our gate? What's our gate? You could say gate number, but you do not have to say number. You could just say, what's our gate? What's our gate? And then the person would say, oh, it's B11. So you know you should sit in the B11 area. And if you have a question, you should talk to the gate agent in the B11 area. Don't go to B9 or B10 because they have no information about your flight. Only the gate agent at B11 knows anything about your flight. Okay. So we're gate B2. That's what you could say. Now, here are some general questions you may ask. So after you've gone through security, then you want to find your gate. Now, you can maybe ask, how far is gate B2? Because again, security could be 15 minutes away from your gate. So you still have 15 minutes to get to your gate. Or just, where's gate B2? You might ask someone, excuse me, where's gate B2? Excuse me. That's how you get someone's attention. Excuse me, where's gate B2? So you would ask an employee of the airport, excuse me, where's gate B2? Or, excuse me, where's the lounge? Or you ask your fellow traveler, where's the lounge? Okay, because hopefully you get lounge access. You get to wait in the lounge, which is a lot nicer than waiting at the gate. Or where are the restrooms? So in an airport, you would call the area where you use the toilet, wash your hands, the restrooms. Now, I always ask, where's the water fountain? Okay, now thankfully they have water bottle refill stations. So it's not where you have to sip like a water fountain. A water fountain is where you press the button and you go, you have to drink it with your mouth. A water bottle refill station is where you take your water bottle and you go like this, and then water fills in your water bottle. But people still just say, where's the water fountain, to find out where the water bottle refill station is. Okay, so you can ask that because it's very important to stay hydrated while you're flying. I always carry an empty water bottle because you can't take liquids through security, but you can take an empty water bottle and then you can fill it up before your flight leaves? Okay. So those are some questions that you may ask. You can ask someone at the airport, remember, excuse me, to get their attention, or you just ask the person you're traveling with. Yeah, platform generally isn't used at airports. So yeah, you would use it more at train stations, perhaps bus stations as well. Now, a little quiz for you. She's waiting at the gate. So remember, a gate is just this little area with all the other passengers for your specific flight. So she's waiting at the gate with what type of bags? There's a name for the bags, okay? Because if she has her bags at the gate, it means she did not check her bags. She did not check her bags because you check your bags before you get before you go through security. Okay. You must check your bags before you go through security. Now, if she's at the gate, she didn't check her bags. So, what type of bags are these? I see the right answer. Great job, everyone. I see the right answer. They're called carry-on bags. Carry-on bags. Now, for spelling, just notice there's a hyphen because it functions as an adjective. Okay, because carry could be a verb. So if you have it as two words like this, in spoken English, there's no difference, but in written English, the adjective gets the hyphen because as two words, you can conjugate the verb. So I might say, I carried on my bags, for example. Okay, but great job, everyone. You knew it. Awesome. Carry on bags, carry on suitcase, carry on luggage. Remember, the word bag is a general term. You can also use suitcase or luggage. Now, technically, her purse is called her personal item because generally on a plane, you get one carry-on and one personal item. A personal item is a small backpack, a purse. So what you see on the chair, that's her personal item. And then the suitcase is a carry-on suitcase. Okay. And if you carry on your bags, it means you don't check them. So it's a lot faster because when you land, you don't have to worry about getting your bag. You already have your bag. You don't have to worry about lost luggage. But remember, you can't have liquids and it has to be a small bag as well. Let's keep going. She's waiting for her flight to do what? So she's at the gate. What's she doing? She's waiting for her flight to, the backpack, that would be considered a personal item, but you could absolutely call it a carry-on bag as well. Okay, everyone, think about grammar as well, because when you put the answer in the chat, it has to be grammatically correct. So it has to be the correct conjugation. So if you see to, she's waiting for her flight to, what does that tell you grammatically? I hope it tells you that you need a base verb because to would be the preposition for the infinitive, right? So to plus base verb, that's the infinitive. So I see a lot of non-base verb forms. So on a language exam, you would get it wrong. These things matter. Or even in spoken English. Oh, I'm waiting for my flight to, And then if you say the verb in ing, that would be incorrect in this form. Okay. To board, to board. But you could absolutely say take off as well. Take off is step 2. First, you board the plane. And then once the plane is boarded, then the plane takes off, right? But you could absolutely say take off. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you could. Let's get creative. You can say she's waiting for her flight to arrive, because isn't it the worst? You get to your gate and there's no plane. If there's no plane there, most likely your flight's going to be delayed because the plane has to come. All the passengers have to get off the plane, and then they have to clean it, they have to check it, and then the new passengers board. So absolutely, I always am very disappointed if I get there and the plane isn't there. Okay. Great job, everyone. Yes, board. You could say depart. Depart means leave. So again, remember that's step 2. So first you board, and then the plane takes off, leaves, departs. Okay. So again, here are some questions that she could ask. She could ask the gate agent, the employee of the airport, or she could ask her fellow traveler, the person traveling with her, her fellow traveler, what time do we board? Now, the boarding time is on your boarding pass. Your boarding pass tells you what time you board, because depending on how large the plane is, you board 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour before the departure time. The departure time is the time the plane leaves, departs, takes off. So what time do we board? And then maybe someone tells her, or the answer is we board in 10 minutes. So here, board is the verb, to board, to board. Now, a very important question as well. What zone are we in? Now, if it is just for one person, it's because she's traveling with people. If it's just her and she's asking the gate agent, she would say, what zone am I in? What zone am I in? Okay. Because most flights, they board by zone number. So rather than everyone going at the same time, first people in zone 1 board, then people in zone 2 board. And your zone number is also on your boarding pass. Okay, so those are some questions that you can ask your fellow traveler or the gate agent. Now, what is happening now? And think of grammar. Think of grammar, because you can't just, even if you get the verb or the noun or the adjective correct, but the grammar is incorrect, on a language exam, that absolutely matters. If you're filling in this question as a quiz on a language exam, you will get it wrong if your grammar is incorrect. Okay. The flight think of grammar is boarding. Yeah. Your spelling's incorrect. You would get that wrong, unfortunately, because it's the wrong word. It's not bordering, it's boarding. Okay. The flight is boarding. You don't have to have now, which is why I put it in parentheses. It's optional. But often the announcement, they might say flight 234 with service to Istanbul is now boarding. Please proceed to gate B2. We are boarding by zone number. All passengers in zone 1 are now invited to board. I've heard these announcements so many times that I could be the flight announcer. The flight is boarding. The flight is now boarding. Now is optional. You don't need to include it, but the announcer may include it. Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, have you ever had this where you actually have to go on the ground to do what the action is? So are the plane. And an additional quiz for you. What's the name of the ground here? Because you can call it ground for sure, but there's a specific name for ground at an airport. So if you know that, that is a bonus. Okay. I see some correct answers. Yeah, passengers are boarding. Passengers are boarding. Passengers are boarding. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So, of course, in everyday English, you would say the people are getting on the plane. Okay. You would say that just in a general sense. But at the airport, there are just specific terms used. So, the term for people, which I've used many, many times, is passengers. Passengers. The passengers, and the term for get on is board. That's what they use at an airport. So the passengers are boarding the plane. The passengers are boarding the plane. And yes, tarmac, tarmac, that's the word for the ground at the airport. So the tarmac. Have you ever boarded on the tarmac? I have. It's very weird. It's weird to walk outside an airport and the planes look so massive when you're on the tarmac. It's kind of cool though. Okay. Good job. Good job. Well done. We have A, B, C, D, E, F. You have to name what these are. Okay. So what is A? What is B? What is C? What is D, E, F? What are the names of these? I've already said 3 of them. And an additional one should be very obvious based on your answer for a different one. Okay. I'll give you some time. A is what? B is what? C is what? I see some answers coming in. Oh, who knows what F is? And hopefully you can see D. I see some answers coming in. I don't see any answers to D, E, or F. Nobody knows what D, E, or F is? Oh, someone just provided an answer for D. What about E? What is E? What is F? Oh, someone just tried E. And take a wild guess. I've used that before in this class. Take a wild guess. It just means guess. Even if you have no idea what the answer is, this isn't a real test. So there's no consequence if you get the answer wrong. So in this case, it's completely risk-free. If you take a wild guess and you're completely wrong, who cares? Okay. I will give you a few more seconds because I see the answers coming in. Lots of interesting answers for sure. I just saw an answer for F. Okay. People don't seem to know E, which is interesting. Okay. I just saw an answer for E. F, I've seen some interesting answers for F, but I love it. Take a wild guess. Have fun with it. Be creative. What does it look like to you? If you were going to name it, what would you say? Okay. Yeah, F is for filling the stuff. I like it. Why not? Are you ready? Are you ready for the correct answers? Drum roll. Someone give me a drum roll. Let's see the answers. They're still coming in. Oh, trunk. Interesting. Interesting. Lots of good answers, everyone. Very creative. Very creative. Okay. So the answers are A is an aisle seat. Aisle seat. Notice that pronunciation. The pronunciation and spelling are very different. Aisle. I-O. I, and then that dark L. O. Aisle. Aisle. Two sounds. Aisle. Aisle. Aisle seat. B is the middle seat. Nobody wants that. C is the window seat. D is a seatbelt. Seatbelt. E is the aisle. The aisle. Okay. Which makes sense. Why is it called the aisle seat? Why is A the aisle seat? Because it's closest to the aisle. This is what you walk in on a plane. So the flight attendants will say things like, keep the aisles clear. Keep the aisle clear, which means don't stay in the aisle because it's tiny. If there's a person standing in the aisle, it's impossible to get around that person. So the flight attendant will say, keep the aisle clear. Move out of the aisle. Okay, so E is aisle and F is the overhead bin. If you just said bin, you could say that, the bin, but it's the overhead bin. Overhead, because this is your head and the location is over. It's over the passengers' heads. And this is where you store your carry-on bags. You store your carry-on bags or your purse, your backpack, your jacket in the overhead bin or under your seat, depending on the size of your item. Now, I put in parentheses for D, fasten or secure. These are the verbs that you would use with seatbelt. So the flight attendant would say, please fasten your seatbelt before takeoff. Please secure your seatbelt before takeoff. So it's just two separate terms, but both are commonly used, and they are both verbs. To fasten. The T is silent. Fasten, fasten, fasten. Please fasten your seatbelt. Please secure your seatbelt. All right. Fasten your seatbelt right now. Yeah, so fasten, unfasten. Okay, so he is his suitcase in the overhead bin. What would you say? I see some answers in the comments. Hello, Alex. Greetings to Puerto Rico. So glad you're here with us. Pudding, 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 pudding. Pudding, pudding. What do you guys think? Oops. Oops. Okay. You can absolutely say pudding, pudding, for sure. That's just regular, everyday terminology. He's putting his suitcase in the overhead bin. Some students put putting in, but I already have in the sentence. So you don't need the in, okay? So again, just if you entered putting in, it would be incorrect because the sentence already contains the preposition in. And it's not putting up or putting, oh, he's putting away his suitcase in the overhead bin. Technically, I personally would say correct, but another teacher might be a little more picky and say incorrect. So that one's like a maybe. It depends on context because you absolutely can put something away, which means put it in its correct place. Okay. Okay, now notice though, I said / stowing because on a plane, there's just certain terminology that they use. Now, one verb that they use is the verb stow. Now, this means put, but the flight attendants will commonly say all bags must be stowed prior to takeoff. So all bags must be put away. Put away. All bags must be put away. All bags must be put in the overhead bins or under your seat because you can stow, place, or put your bag under your seat. So it's either in the overhead bin or under your seat. Okay? In the overhead bin, under your seat. All bags must be stowed prior to takeoff. Oh, right. So that's a very useful verb to know. Just know that it's only used on planes and perhaps trains or buses, other forms of transportation, but it isn't used in an everyday context. When you get into someone's home, they wouldn't say, you can stow your jacket in the closet. They wouldn't say that. They can say, you can put your jacket in the closet, for example. Okay, the plane. This one's easy, right? The plane. You know this. We've already said it many times. You got it, and you got the correct grammar as well. Great job. Oops, sorry. Alexander, excellent job. Manuel, takes off is in the present simple, which is used for a routine situation. So technically it's grammatically correct, but you would have to provide the context to make it sound like a routine situation. For example, the plane takes off every morning at 8 a.m., for example. But without context, it sounds better in the present continuous. The action is taking place now. Awesome job, everyone. You got the grammar. Woohoo. The plane is taking off. Please remain seated until the captain turns off the seatbelt light. So the seatbelt light, if the seatbelt light is off, it means you can get up and go to the bathroom. You can get something out of the overhead bin. For example, you can move around the plane, but if the seatbelt light is on, you must remain in your seat with your seatbelt fastened. I might as well become a flight attendant. I know exactly what to say. Okay. Now, 5 hours later, because honestly, nothing really happens on a plane. You're just watching movies, reading a book, listening to music, or sleeping. Not a lot happens on a plane. So, 5 hours later, the passengers, what are the passengers doing? Remember, 5 hours later, okay? The passengers, the opposite of boarding. The opposite of boarding. And remember to think about grammar as well. So you have to form a grammatically correct sentence. You can't just put the verb in the infinitive or the base verb or unconjugated or incorrectly conjugated. Okay. The passengers, I see some interesting examples. The passengers are getting off the plane. So that is just the everyday term. Now, even though boarding the plane sounds quite technical, I say that. What time does our plane board? Are you boarding? Have you boarded? When do you board? I use the verb board with planes. But we generally use the everyday terminology, which is get off. The passengers are getting off the plane. The technical term, the opposite of boarding, would be disembarking. So I saw some students making it the opposite by putting unboarding, but that's not the opposite. So that doesn't work. Disembarking is the opposite. So to board, to disembark. To board, to disembark. But disembark, honestly, it sounds quite formal. The flight attendant and the captain and the crew may use that terminology. I, as the passenger, don't. I don't say, have you disembarked? Are you disembarking? How long did it take you to disembark? I don't say that. I just say, did you get off or are you getting off? How long did it take you to get off? When are you getting off? I would just use get off. You could also use leaving or exiting the plane. The passengers are leaving the plane, the passengers are exiting the plane. So this one is a little more forgiving. There are different terms you could use, but definitely for enter, you would say board. Absolutely board. Yeah. Nice. The passengers are standing in the aisle. Very nice. Absolutely. Yeah. Very nice. And the passengers are waiting for their bags at, what is the name of this metallic device? But hopefully you only have carry-on. So hopefully you don't need to do this because you're a smart traveler and you only use carry-on. But sometimes you have to because you have to bring more items or you have liquids that you need to bring, for example. So sometimes it's not possible to only take carry-on. The passengers are waiting for their bags at, you got it, Hidaki. Yeah. Yeah, you could say, yes, you can say that as well. The baggage carousel, luggage, you can use baggage or luggage or claim. Yeah. But some students said belt. The the name of the strip that moves on the device is called the belt. Okay, so you could use belt as well. So there's some flexibility as well with this terminology. Baggage carousel or baggage claim, those are the most common ones that I hear. And that's it. I think you're ready for your next trip. Actually, my husband is flying tomorrow. I'm not flying for the indefinite future. I don't have any plans right now to fly, so I won't be using this vocabulary for a while, but I will ask my husband, so is your flight on time? Is it delayed? How long did it take you to get through security? Are you at the gate? So I will use this vocabulary to ask him questions about his trip. Oh, are you in that window seat or aisle seat? Oh, no, you got the middle seat. That's terrible. All right, everyone, you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can download this from my website. Just go to my website, jforrestenglish.com, enter your name and email, and then this will be emailed to you. And also, if you want to ask me questions, if you want to practice this vocabulary, if you want to make sure your pronunciation is correct, and if you want to keep improving your English every week with me as your personal coach, you can get that support in the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my program to help you understand real English and sound fluent in only 90 days. And that's it, everyone. So put yes, yes, yes if you enjoyed this lesson. I had a lot of fun. I especially like quizzing you, and I'm always impressed with how many interesting terms that you know. It's really impressive. Just remember, in quizzes, you still have to take those words and put them in the correct form, the correct grammar, which is extremely important for whether it's spoken English, just in a casual conversation, or whether it's a language exam. You need the correct grammar. So always ask yourself, what's the verb? What's the subject? What's the time reference? Am I conjugating it correctly? Okay, you have to ask yourself that. And even if you're not using a verb, if you're using a noun, an adjective, you still have to ask, do I need an article? What article do I need? Is the plural singular, or is the noun singular or plural? There are still questions you need to ask yourself and answer correctly. So pay attention to that. Our next session is this time next week, 1 hour earlier. So every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Central Time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so just 1 hour earlier from right now. And make sure you like this lesson so I know you enjoyed it, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And I will see all of you in my next one. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.